My first steps as Fairy Queen are shaky. At any moment, it feels like my legs might give out from under me. Yet, at the same time, I feel a strange sort of confidence and inner strength. I don't know if magic literally courses through my veins or not, but it feels that way. My next few steps as Fairy Queen are easier. I keep my gaze fixed on Abigail as I make my way towards her. She waits impatiently, concern clearly etched on her face. The fairies buzz agitatedly over my head, darting and dashing in pointless patterns. Though they don't vocalize anything, I can hear their voices clearly in my head.
Hi, Queen. Welcome home. How does it feel?
I acknowledge their words, and at the same time, I can feel myself be acknowledged. It comes as naturally as breathing. I promise that I'll get to them in a moment. Madison, are you all right? She clings to my side, her slender arms tight around me. Though I'm not shaking anymore, her presence is still infinitely reassuring. I press my lips to her head, and we sway gently back and forth. I can feel her too. As a part of the forest, her presence is as warm and comforting in my head as in my arms. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. She makes a sound that I think is a gasp, but that I soon realize is a sob. Abigail cries against my shoulder, her arms tightening like a vice. I don't ever want to let her go. I hold her as tightly as I can while her body is racked with sobs. Her breath and tears are warm, almost painfully hot. The thin lace of my new outfit does little to inhibit them. I'm so sorry that all of this is happening. I'm sorry. Gently, I find her hands and take them in mine. I squeeze them, trying to impart the same kind of solace that she gives to me. It's okay, really. I'm happy things turned out this way. I'm glad that I met you, no matter the circumstances. Her cries get stronger, and I drop one of her hands in order to brush her hair back from her tear-stained face. We hold each other tightly until she's able to calm down. Meanwhile, the fairies still continue to circle overhead, although they remain respectfully silent. Finally, Abigail heaves a steady breath and steps back just a little bit. I'm sorry again. It was just that seeing you there, with the fairy light. I mean, you looked beautiful. You still do. More than beautiful. But it made me again realize everything that you've gone through. Everything I've put you through. I press a finger to her lips. She looks up at me, surprise replacing the sadness. It's okay. I'd go through all of it again to end up here with you. I mean it. Abigail sniffles heavily, and I can tell that she's trying not to cry again. You can make it up to me by getting out of all this with me. She nods. That sounds more like a gift to me than the other way around, but I'll keep being selfish and take it. Good. I want you to be selfish. We kiss quickly and briefly, then separate. I look up at the fairies above me, who are glad to be noticed again. Thank you for saving me like this. I owe you my life. Somehow, I've ended up owing my life to way more people than I ever expected to.
You have 3 days to keep it. That's right, you're running out of time. We can't wait much longer.
I know. I'll find a queen for you. I know that it won't be as easy as I make it sound. After meeting some of the Eysenfeld locals, I don't get the impression that any of them would be interested in the offer. Still, I have 3 days to figure it out.
I'll be waiting. We know we'll see you again. With the new queen or not.
The ritual finished, the fairies quickly disperse back into the trees. I'm glad there's no more ceremony or ritual to go along with my transformation. Alone with Abigail once more, I head to the shore of the pond so that I can finally get a full glimpse of myself. I can barely recognize my own reflection. The girl staring back at me from beneath the water looks much more suited to the position of queen than I expected. She looks calm and confident, like she's unafraid of whatever happens next. I hope I'm not just fooling myself. I turn this way and that, admiring my new outfit. I wonder if it's meant to tempt me into staying. Abigail moves closer, peering into the water with me. Our reflections next to each other serve as a visible reminder as to why I can't stay. As comfortable and satisfying as this newfound gift is, I have no desire to keep it at the cost of our freedom. I'll get us out of this. Are you ready to go? I am. Okay, first things first. We need to get in touch with Morgan and Tara. They probably know more about the mare than we do. It'll also set my mind at ease a lot. There's so much more that I need to say to Tara. Even if I spent all 3 of our days just talking with her, that still wouldn't be enough time. How will we do that? Going into the village would be far too dangerous. We don't have to. We just have to get to the cabin. I flex my fingers, still acutely aware of the magical tingling. And that's easy like this. Abigail runs her fingers over mine, her skin angelically soft like always. All right, I trust you. I curl my fingers, squeezing her hand again. Thank you. Speaking of which, there's something I think we should do. I pause a moment while she waits expectantly. Much like the way my coronation just ended, what I'm about to say seems unceremonious. I think I can return us to the physical plane too. Both of us. It takes a second for the implication to sink in, before Abigail's eyes grow wide as saucers. Madison, are you sure? Her hand clutches her heart. Yeah, I can't explain how I know, but I just do. There's a lot of stuff that I can do now. But that way, you'd be able to talk with Tara and Morgan too. And I know that we'll need all the help we can get at the end. I keep banishing the thought of what that end will be, because there's only one way that this can end, putting a stop to Evelyn once and for all. I don't need that weighing on my mind along with everything else right now. I understand. You know that I wouldn't just abandon you, Madison. I know. Abigail takes a deep breath, steadying herself. Okay, I'm ready. Silently, I step forward, taking her other hand in mine as well. I close my eyes and bow my head, and I feel her do the same. I can feel the magic course through me and out of me, spreading like vines from my fingers. It affects both me and her, taking our very forms and rebinding them to the mortal world where they belong. I can feel Abigail tense up, and her breathing get shallow. Still, I keep my eyes closed, willing the magic to continue working. It obeys my whims effortlessly. And then, after a minute that feels like an hour, the flow of magic slows and then stops. I open my eyes. Abigail is still there, her hands warm in mine, her eyes slowly open as well, meeting mine. This close together, I can feel her breath warm against my face. How do you feel? A light breeze blows through. For the first time in 200 years, Abigail's gown sways in the wind. It's cold, she says and laughs, pressing herself even more tightly against me. Abigail shivers. Her teeth begin chattering within seconds of her transformation. Despite how poofy it is, her gown really isn't very warm at all. Fortunately, the chill doesn't bother me. It wouldn't make sense for a fairy queen to be susceptible to the cold. But taking care of Abigail is a pressing matter. Let's go to the cabin. I can get us there quickly. She just nods, wrapping her arms tightly around herself. I hug her tightly as well and access the magic once again. This time, I'll use it to transport us across the forest to its very boundary where the cabin is, and where my powers stop being useful. Since the cabin and the village are technically outside the bounds of the forest, once I step past the trees, I'll just be a regular ghost again, at least until I go back into the forest. So I can't get too far away. If Evelyn were to find out where we are, or make some move against us, I'd be powerless to stop her. Better to not even give her that opportunity. Still, the transportation is smooth. It doesn't even feel like we move. Instead, we close our eyes in the fairy clearing, and when we open the gem, the cabin is just in front of us. Seeing it again strikes a pang in my heart. It feels like forever ago. I guess technically, it was a lifetime ago. There's no time to get sentimental, though. Not when Abigail's like this. Instead, we hurry to the front door. Miraculously, the door is unlocked. I guess Morgan and Tara had more important things to worry about than locking up the last time they were here. We rush inside and I turn on both the lights and the heater. As warm air cranks out, Abigail's relief is palpable and immediate. She settles down onto one of the chairs, comfiness outweighing even her curiosity for just a moment. Better? Much. She luxuriates in the feeling, eyes closed in bliss. Her fingers absent-mindedly scrape the soft cushion of the couch, where she presses her back into. It's so soft. Then she leaps to her feet, zooming towards the kitchen. She drags her fingers along every different surface as she goes, stopping to examine most of them. She rubs the edge of the counter. Madison, it's so smooth and cold. At the sink, she examines the faucet intently before spinning one of them. Cold water pours out over her hands and she yelps in shock, but quickly grins. Madison, it's like a river. Then she reaches the heater, which is pretty much keeping her alive right now. Like a cat, she basks in front of it, relishing the warmth. Each sensation seems to bring her immeasurable joy. For me, it had been a couple weeks. For Abigail, it had been 200 years without feeling warmth or cold, or textures. I watch fondly. I wish we had more time to enjoy ourselves, more time to show her modern things, like films. I remind myself that I can't think like that. We just don't have the time yet. We just have to get through this. Then we'll have all the time in the world. I'm going to get you some warmer clothes. I'll be right back. All right. She still plopped in front of the heater, closer than I would have thought is comfortable. Smiling, I head into what had once been my bedroom. It's been rearranged a bit. My suitcase has been shoved to one corner, forgotten. My laptop sits atop my bed, although most of the video gear is missing. Tara and Morgan must have taken it with them when they left. Good thinking. I start booting up my laptop while I roll the suitcase to my bed and start sifting through my clothes. After everything I've been through, the actions feel so mundane that I have to give myself a second just to let it all sink in. Everything's been moving so fast since that night Abigail and I kissed by the water. There's hardly been a chance to breathe. Still, being back on familiar territory with familiar comforts is reassuring. It makes me feel like a human again. Something as simple as being able to push a button on my computer and watch it respond is a little miracle that I don't think I'll take for granted again. Getting used to the necessities of normal life, like eating and sleeping, will definitely take some time though. Same with keeping warm. Unfortunately for Abigail, my clothes are the only option she has. They won't fit her as well, but they should be better than that nightgown she's been wearing for so long. I complete the outfit with a cute hat. I hope she likes it. Here you go. They're not the best fit, but they should at least keep you warm. Abigail hurries over and reverently takes the bundle from me. Are these your clothes? Yeah, they are. I hope that's okay. She holds the bundle to her chest. I'll treasure them. I show her to the bathroom and also explain how everything works. I have to admire her restraint in just accepting everything modern in stride. It isn't too long before she emerges once again. She holds her arms wide, the cloth hanging a little loosely from her in parts, but she's smiling. How do I look? Gorgeous. That's the word I managed to stammer out, but there's a whole new slew of them that would work. Call me biased, but I think my clothes look better on her than on me. Giggling, she does a slow spin, showing off more. The person who chose them has wonderful taste. Abigail gets comfortable in the living room while I grab my laptop from the bed. I sit down beside her, turning it so she can see. This is a computer. It can do a ton of things, but it also lets people talk via long distance. And that's how you're going to contact Tara? Right. Abigail watches with rapt attention as I open a browser and wait for the painfully slow internet to load my email. There are so many different pictures and words. Don't you ever lose track of where you are? Not really, you get used to it. Surely you're being modest. I imagine very few people could operate one of these. I love her? I wish, but really, most people have one of their own, or even more than one. They're really a common part of everyday life. I see. In that case, you'll have to teach me. Definitely, but for now though, I'm going to send that message. How will it be transported? It's, I try to think of how to explain this, then I realize that I have the perfect analogy. You know how the forest is all totally connected? Like how you can sense all the different parts of it? Abigail nods and slowly her face gets pale. Madison, don't tell me that modern people are connected in the same way. I can't help it. I burst out laughing. Indignantly, she waits for me to finish. It takes me past the point of having tears in my eyes before I do. I can see that I was wrong. She pretends to pout, though I can see in her eyes that she's just playing. I'm sorry. It's just that you look so horrified. She laughs too. Well, imagine how I feel. Apparently nothing is impossible anymore, so I simply have to assume the worst. She snuggles against me, pressing her cheek against my shoulder to show that she's only pretending to be upset. So go on, do explain it then. It's not the people that are connected, but the machines. If you have a computer, you can send a message instantly to any other computer in the world. It's more complicated than that, but that's the easy way to put it. I see. So you're going to send a message to Tara's computer. Right. I'm going to tell her to come and meet us here. I hope she'll believe it's me. I'm sure that she'll know, somehow. I nod. Entering Tara's email address into the field. It feels absurdly formal to be sending an email of all things to get in touch with her. I don't think we've ever had an email conversation in our lives. I'll leave the subject line blank. Anything I could put there would feel comical. I don't really know how to word the rest of this message, so I don't think about it. I just put my fingers to the keys and start to type. Dear Tara, I know this is going to sound kind of hard to believe,